Hello and welcome to Prog Chattery 777. We are talking about Van der Graaf Generator, and we have gotten to the fourth or fifth Van der Graaf Generator album. I call it the fourth, really, because the least we can do to wave to each other is the first album, as far as I'm concerned. But the album today we're talking about is Godbluff, the first reunion album by Van der Graaf Generator, and it is an out-and-out classic. It is a very, very good piece of work. Released in 1975, after the hiatus, they did take a break. 1972, the band broke up. Peter Hammill released a few solo albums, a few very good solo albums. On some of those albums, he released half of what would have been the follow-up to Pan Hearts, and those were very good songs. And yeah, basically push came to shove, and they all decided that they were going to reform the band again, and we ended up with Godbluff. Let me take this sleeve off. It might be shining very brightly. I think it's still shining brightly. But yeah, great album. The first time they used the famous Van der Graaf font right here. Really like that. I might get a tattoo of the V one day, but we'll see. It hasn't happened yet. Very dark album cover. Darkness is certainly a theme with Van der Graaf. Having a black album cover with the blood red Godbluff font at the bottom. I guess that's something of a statement, but it suits the album. And like I said, it is an out-and-out classic. I think there's a chance. I think this actually might be my favorite Van der Graaf Generator album. It's the one that I always go to if I'm listening to other stuff and I'm used to other stuff and I think to myself, oh, I'm going to get into some Van der Graaf. I almost always go back to this one because to me it is the ultimate Van der Graaf. The lineup is the classic four-piece. So we've got Peter Hammill on vocals, guitar, and piano, electric piano. We've got Hugh Banton on keyboards, organ, bass pedals. He's also doing the low end. Guy Evans on drums, and David Jackson on flutes and saxophone. So that classic Van der Graaf sound is very much intact on this album. But it's a different thing. It is definitely a different thing to those early albums. I think a theme that I really kind of vented on was those early albums had a very 60s feel. These ones don't. They might have a 70s feel, but I don't know, to my ears it's quite timeless, the songs on these albums, the 70s period, 75 to 77. They are quite timeless. I don't know what it is. Really good stuff. A little more streamlined, I guess. There's still lots of madness in the music, but it's arranged differently. Like streamlined is kind of the wrong word to use for it. It's not really streamlined. It is still Van der Graaf Generator. There's still lots of disconcerting moments and moments in tension. But I guess there's an energy there. There's a forward rocking momentum to a lot of the songs on this album. And it's good. Like I said, it's probably my favorite Van der Graaf album. So, you know, whatever they did, they did it right. Anyway, we'll go on the tracks. There's only 4 songs on the album, 2 songs for each side. And it opens with the Undercover Man. That is the first song on side 1. And great opener. Starts out with just David Jackson's very light flute. Kind of slowly creeps into the audio space, and Hammill kind of whispers the first few lines. Here at the glass, all of the usual problems, all the habitual farce. Really, very deep. Another song by Van der Graaf that I really don't know what the meaning is. I've never quite gotten the meaning. The Undercover Man. Could be about the man that we don't show to, we don't bring out to public forum. The person inside us that dwells within our exterior personality. Could be. I mean, I could be way off base, but it's a great song. It is a steady build. It's a great little kind of sax solo with that riff. Da 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 da. It's really good. Definitely the lightest song on the album, for sure. Um, Shortest song as well. It's only about 7 minutes, something. But yeah, really good. It's a Van der Graaf classic. All 4 songs on this album are Van der Graaf classics. I mean, it is, like I said, Pawn Hearts is sort of like mind blowing and mind splitting, and you just kind of, whoa, like what is this? But you can kind of listen to this. You can just throw this on, and ooh, that's interesting. I mean, this is probably, in fact, this is probably the best album to start out your Van der Graaf collection with. Either this one or the next one. Either this one or Still Life. Because again, it's got that streamlined, but I'm not using that word. I don't want to say streamlined. I guess it's a little more accessible. Anyway, the Undercover Man, the song Sieg, the first 2 songs Sieg, and we end up with Scorched Earth, which might be my favorite Van der Graaf Generator song. It is so good. It's a real rock song. It has that rocking energy to it, that forward drive, and I think a lot of that comes from the fact that the previous Peter Hammill solo album, Nadier's Big Chance, didn't have any Van der Graaf songs. Although I guess People You Were Going To is on that album, and that one is kind of a Van der Graaf song. But all the members of Van der Graaf played on that album, so that was kind of the impetus for them to reform and create this. And Nadier's Big Chance by Peter Hammill is a very, they call it a punk kind of album. It's got that kind of raw, hard-edged punk energy, and I think the band was really inspired by that. And it really shows on Scorched Earth, probably more than the other songs. And it's about when I first discovered Scorched Earth, I was in a history class in high school, and we were learning all about Stalin and his crazy tactics, and Scorched Earth was a theme of that bit of Russian history, and it just coalesced really well. And I've always kind of associated that with some poor Russian farmer having to burn his land and move on. Very intense stuff. The big build up at the end, down 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 down. Absolutely classic Van der Graaf material. Absolutely love it. First time I ever saw Van der Graaf Generator, it was in 2009, in the spring of 2009. It was in Toronto at the Opera House, and I believe they opened with this song, and stunning. Just stunning. I was just standing there watching Hammill up there with his guitar. Yeah, I think it's a guitar he plays on this song. Maybe the image in my mind is different from the actual event, but it was a great time. I was quite happy. Fun fact: when I saw my first Van der Graaf concert in the Opera House in Toronto, I met the tour manager. I never got his name, unfortunately, but he was very kind, and he was so thrilled that he saw me and my friend, who were so young and so into Van der Graaf music. He gave us free tickets to the next show in Hamilton, which we went to, and it was stellar, fantastic. Anyway, back to the album. So we take the old disc. Oh, you're not gonna see the disc, but there's the label. Charisma. We flip the side, and we get Arrow on side 2. Arrow is the opening song of side 2. This is probably the one song that you hear less about from this album, but it's really good. I'm not sure how much they played this live. I think they did back in the 70s when the album was fresh, but it hasn't been played live recently by any means. Kind of starts out, the actual opening is it's kind of jazzy, improv-y, random bit, which is really good, and then it kind of slowly falls apart into the main theme, which is quite dark. The darkness of Van der Graaf is very present here. It's kind of a war song. Really good vocals by Hammill. Oh my God. Just crazy. The last time, how strange my body feels impaled upon the arrow. He holds that note and just shrieks it like a furious madman. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. And we finish off, the album closes with, I may take this back, I mentioned Scorched Earth as being my favorite Van der Graaf song. The Sleepwalkers might be my favorite Van der Graaf song. It is the closer of the album, and it is absolutely stunning. Again, the lyrics are very, very dense and very, very difficult to discern. They're difficult to figure out. It's something I've been working on for years now. But it's a stunning track, really good. It's almost got a fusion-y kind of a feeling to it, jazz fusion. Great keyboard work by Banting, great sax work by Jackson, great drumming by Evans, great singing by Hamill. The band is just absolutely on fire in this song. All the songs are in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 minutes. I think this one's on around the 10-minute mark, but it's great. It's got a really cool jammy middle section where the band really kind of plays with unrestrained abandon for a little bit. Great concert highlight too. The trio Van der Graaf that has been around since 2006 has played this, and they've done a great job of it. I think the Sleepwalkers, you can't get enough of that. Really, really good classic Van der Graaf Generator song. And yeah, that's about it. That's Godbluff, the reunion album. Definitely nothing like the early period. Nothing like Pawn Hearts. I mean, they were very wise in that regard, I should say. The fact that they didn't try and repeat themselves with Pawn Hearts, and they did reinvent themselves with this not streamlined, but something else kind of approach. Harder rocking, harder edged, more conscientiously arranged, maybe. I don't know. But it's good. It's a great album. A Van der Graaf classic, possibly my favorite of the collection. And if you're interested in this or 70s prog, check it out. It's fantastic. So, join me next time for Still Life. We will see you then. See you later.